Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm tryna get these ends, building empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business. No time for stress over bullshit. You think success is an option? I'm tryna get this shit poppin' like woo, big moves.
Hey DeMarie TV family, so everything I say is alleged, just in my opinion, and it is for entertainment purposes only. This episode this week, it had a little bit more male in it, so I will say it was better than last week, but it still was not great. It really wasn't great. It picks back up where it left off at Nell's party. Tisha is still being insecure and drunk. I think all of this stuff with Tisha stems from the fact that Tisha's not where Tisha wants to be. She has this narrative that she's a boss, she's this, that, and the other, but really you never see any of that. You never see any of the work that she does. She attaches herself to Marcel, and then she spends the other half of her day saying that she needs an office or she wants to stay home with her kids. Tisha has never presented herself as some boss on this show. So I think that is what is getting to Tisha. And I think when she's around women who have achieved some of the goals that she would like to achieve, it makes her feel small. Okay? Marcel's talking to Stormy about, we felt weird about y'all extending the invitation. Well, if you didn't like them extending the invitation, the easy thing to do is decline. So this is really not even a true discussion. If you don't want to go to a party, you decline the RSVP. You don't go. You just decline to go to the party and you don't show up. Problem solved. There was no need for this whole conversation about, it was weird or it was that. For Stormy and her husband, they're having a party. The cast needs to be invited to the party. So they did that part. If Tisha and Marcel did not want to show up to the party, they didn't have to. I myself am not sure why Stormy would want to have someone in any event that she throws when the person allegedly falsely accused her of taking pills. She would never be in my circle ever again. But for some reason, Stormy's okay with that. It makes you question, was Tisha lying or was Tisha telling the truth? Because if that was a lie she told, Stormy would never in a million years deal with her, because if she allowing you about popping pills, what else will she lie about? So it leads me to believe, in my opinion, there's some truth to what Tisha said, and Stormy knows that, because she's willing to befriend her and have her in her inner circle again. And you don't do that to people who lie on you. But you would open that door back up to somebody who was pissed and just told the truth. So then Tisha's going back and forth with Nell. Again, if I was Nell, I wouldn't be taking time out of my birthday to entertain this mess. I would say, okay, cool, we can address it later and keep it moving. I would not be giving Tisha any time to express whatever issues she has with me. Tisha does not understand how to read a room. She does not know how to behave in public. She's always doing things at inappropriate times and wanting to have conversations at inappropriate times. And that just goes to show how much of a boss she is not. People who are bosses understand that you hold certain conversations for certain times. And at people's birthday parties, you conduct yourself as the friend that they invited to the party. The moment was not about, it should not have been about Tisha. That moment should have been about celebrating Nell. Tisha couldn't do that. She had to take some time to put a spotlight on herself because she's an insecure, pathetic woman. She has to always try to find a time to shine because she doesn't get any other opportunities to shine. That's just Tisha. And that's what I don't like about her, and that's what a lot of people don't like about her. She is very insecure. She lies about what she's done, who she is, how much she has, and it makes her feel a certain kind of way. She's there, her hair's not done, looks like she took some braids out her hair and just went to the party. Her makeup looks weird. She doesn't look as put together or as nice as the other women, and she understands that, and she can feel that. She can feel that. She knows that. And instead of her working on herself and doing what she has to do to feel better about Tisha, her thing is to lash out. And so if Nell and them want to entertain that, that's great. I wouldn't be entertaining it. But Nell always tends to let people push her buttons and drag her into situations she shouldn't be in. Nell's gonna have to work on that, because Tisha wouldn't be talking to me at my birthday party. It would have cost her nothing to merely set up one of these, scenes they have in a restaurant and talk to Nell at that time about what she's been reading on the internet and what fans are saying. Tisha's very consumed with the internet, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, what fans say. She's very consumed by that. Her husband, her brother-in-law, and her sister-in-law are very consumed with what fans say and how they're viewed. They rent cars for this reason. They act like they have more than what they have for this reason. They put on fronts because they want people to view them in a certain way. And when they think that's not working, then they flip out and they get crazy, instead of just being who they are and letting that be enough. A lot of times what you see from the Scotts and all the drama that comes with the Scotts is because they are about fronting, and they're about putting on a face that is not true. And they're worried constantly about that coming down and tumbling down. And it's happening anyway, because you cannot keep up a lie. You can't keep it up, period. It seems like Tisha's beefs are all made up in her head. She's mad at Stormy for inviting her to a party that clearly the whole cast was invited to. She's mad at Nell for saying she mentors her, when clearly Nell was brought onto this show in a mentor role, and she's a little bit older than the other women, and she sees herself in a mentor role. Now, if Tisha don't want her to say that she mentors her, fine. But if you don't want that, then don't ask Nell the first time you sit down at a dinner with her, how does she handle infidelity in her relationship? Because Tisha, that is you asking her to mentor you on infidelity in your relationship. That's why you're always asking other people about infidelity in their relationship, because you have it in yours. You have not dealt with it. It bothers you, and so you're seeking advice from other women on what they have done in their relationship to handle it. Nobody's fooled by that but you. Nobody's confused by that but you. And when that's the first way you approach her on scene, because you clearly saw her mentoring Melody and Martell through their issues with adultery, then she comes across as a mentor to you because you asked her to mentor you and to give you advice on a certain situation that you had clearly seen her give mentorship and advice on before. So do not come into Nell's party saying, oh, I don't understand. Why would you say you mentor me? She's saying she mentors you because when you first sit down with her and Chris in the restaurant with you and Marceau, you asked her to talk to you about infidelity and how she overcame it in her relationship, which is mentoring you. It's just stupid. These are all made up fights. You don't have a reason to be mad about an invite to a party. Don't go. You don't have a reason to be mad because she says she mentors you. If you don't want her to say she mentors you, stop asking her questions in which she has to mentor you. Overall, the party was given struggle to me. It did not seem as if they was having that much fun. It seemed like they got the cast together to say it was a party, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was, they were really trying to have a good time, because honestly, these people don't hang out together and they don't get along like that. And so it's showing through the screen. It's just giving fake. So Nell wraps up her party, and I think the takeaway from this is, even though Wanda's not on the show, Wanda Jr. is on the show. Tisha is the apple that did not fall far from the tree. She's starting to act more and more like her mother, and it shows. And just like her mom, she's a damn mess. And just a side note, I'm starting to see that every time they're doing scenes, no matter where they go, there's no Huntsville public around. Before, in the previous seasons, they would go to restaurants and it would be people in the restaurants eating, like they would be in the restaurant filming with other people. They have been out before where there were other people, and all of a sudden now it's just like everywhere they go, they're isolated and alone. They're filming in places that are inexpensive. They film in that gym at least once or two times every episode. Now they got Martell, Chris, and Courtney throwing a ball in the park like they in damn middle school. Like what is going on? What's What's going on with the budget at Love and Marriage Huntsville? What is happening with the budget? Does no one in Huntsville want to be seen with these people or caught on their cameras anymore? Like, I'm trying to figure out what is happening where they're always isolated. They're always filming in empty restaurants, the park, the gym, or somebody's house. That's the only place you will ever see them. And it's just odd. It's weird. Like, where's the community events? Where's the things that you are doing for the public? Where is that? So Chris, Courtney, and Martell are meeting up at the park to throw a football like they in middle school. I guess they didn't have nowhere else that they could afford to film. So Martell shows up in jeans and boots. Chris is in a baby blue sweatsuit, and Courtney looking like he cold, standing there in a white tee and some sweats. Y'all, I can't. I cannot. I can't. This show is just so whack to me sometimes. All of this because they want to discuss Mel and Martell and who's picking sides and where can Martell go and Melody be. It's ridiculous. And in Martell's mind, they get along great. There's no problems with him and Mel. And this man is literally been, at the time, he's charged with revenge P. And in his mind, he thinks that this woman wants to be around him. Chris is asking, should they be around each other? Because legally, what does that look like? You know, should he be able to be around her if he's threatened her with revenge P? No. And he's worried about who's picking sides. None of these disgusting people should be choosing to have Martell anywhere near them. If he'll do that to his wife, what will he do to y'all? Period. Like, I don't understand this. And, you know, it's just crazy to me. He shouldn't be invited to anything. As friends to not only Mel and Martell, but just as a friend to Martell, you will want to put him on pause to make him see he needs to check his own behavior. Y'all should just put him on pause so that he will check his own behavior. Why is it okay for one of your friends to threaten revenge P on somebody and just put things out? It's okay to be friends with people, but that don't mean you have to agree with everything they do or everything they say. Friends are wrong sometimes, and real friends tell them they ass is wrong. It just appears to me that these are people that just let people do whatever the hell they want to do. It's wrong to drink and drive. It's wrong to threaten people with revenge P. It's wrong to steal from customers. All these things are wrong, yet none of them check each other on their behavior. None of them do. Unless you're pissed off at a reunion, they'll throw some fire out there or throw some stuff out that supposedly the millimeter's been lying about all this time. When it was convenient for Tisha to tell about Stormy's invoices, she talked about her invoices. She didn't talk about her court cases, but she talked about her invoices. But let them tell it, the millimeters be lying on everybody. So when the millimeters was saying Stormy owed money, it was lies and they, oh my goodness, they trying to ruin my business. But when Tisha says it on the reunion, it's nobody's coming for Tisha. Carlos didn't have no smoke for Tisha. He's just looking across the room. It's crazy to me. They never check each other as friends. They never hold each other accountable. And speaking of holding each other accountable, let's get to this crazy scene with Tisha and Marceau. So the scene starts with Marceau driving up to their $1 million home where these millionaires lives on the corner across the street from the gas station. But whatever. So he comes in the house and Tisha's talking about she's doing the motherly thing. She's mommying and there's no kids at home. All the kids at school. She there by herself making coffee. I don't get this woman. But anyway, they get around to talking. They invited Mel to speak at the Black Expo, and Tisha makes the comment that she's a great motivational speaker. And as far as I'm concerned, any invite they extend to Mel needs to be declined. These people spend all of their time trying to minimize who she is. Mel is so much more than just a great motivational speaker. If you're doing a Black Business Expo, you will be having a woman speak who owns multiple successful business. Okay, is a businesswoman. She is truly what Tisha walks around claiming to be while she's at the house making coffee in the middle of the day with no office. Mel is living that life. And that is why Tisha cannot stand her. She claims she's a businesswoman. She's at home midday washing dishes And if that's what she wants to do, fine. But do not claim that you're a businesswoman and you sit around pouting for 2 seasons because your husband hasn't finished your office, or he kicked you out of your office to move somebody in from a company that you claim you own. It's just crazy. Then they want to talk about Mel's upset with him about what he said about Martell and how they're always, getting drugged into everybody else's stuff. Nobody drugged Tisha and Marceau into the incident that happened with Mel and Martell. Ain't nobody thinking about Tisha and Marceau. Tisha and Marceau were not a factor. When they reached out to Marceau for a comment, he should have said no comment and kept it moving. They insert themselves into Martell and Melody's issues because they have no storyline themselves. It benefits everyone on this show to talk about Mel at any given time. Mel has not been in any scene thus far on this episode. Scene number 1, Nell and Tisha. Mel was brought up. Scene number 2, the men throwing the ball at the park. Mel was brought up. Scene number 3, Tisha and Marceau. Mel, they're discussing Mel. Mel is this entire show. Mel is the star. Mel is what people are watching. Mel is what brings people to the yard, honey. Okay? It is Mel. As much as they hate her, as much as they dislike her, as much as they want to talk shit about her, her name is in their mouth every single episode. These people cannot survive on this show without discussing Mel. And it is pathetic. Tisha has told Marceau that Mel wants to talk to him about a comment he made. He's talking about everybody who talked about us has suffered. Everybody who kept our name in their mouth has had something bad happen to them. So you getting sued in court by all these people is not something bad happening to you. Zen Garten is not something bad happening to you. All the lawsuits you have to face is not something bad happening to you. You not being able to build your wife's office. You not being able to finish Scott Manor. You ain't not being able to do most of the projects you start on. That ain't something bad happening to you. It's all vantage point and how people want to see things and how they choose to see things. Stormy and Courtney don't think nothing bad is happening to them. Stormy's making money on TikTok, doing what she does. Better than you and your wife are doing, I might add. Lou and Tiffany left at their own because they wanted to leave. Maybe they were going through a lot of things, but they wanted to leave the show. To you and Tisha, that may be something bad, but to Lou and Tiffany, it just may be what they wanted to do. Kiki was going through shit before she ever got to the show. So her talking about you ain't got nothing to do with the drug addiction and the fallout of her and Amin's relationship. They were clearly having problems with cheating and drug addiction way before they fell out with y'all. So don't act like that's happening because of y'all. And ain't nothing bad happening to Mel. Martell doing a revenge video against Mel is not something bad happening to Mel. That is Martell doing the crazy shit Martell does. God got her. She ain't got to worry about what Martell does. She just needs to do her part and make sure that those charges are filed so the world knows who he is and how he moves. She has to document this man's behavior so that as he starts to accumulate more acts, and as he does more things, he can be held accountable for those. She has to keep a public record of his misdeeds, so that once he does too much, the judge will finally lock his ass the fuck up and get him out of her life. Because none of us will be shocked if Martell continues to Martell. Something tells me he's not done. And what happened to Martell is not happening because he spoke bad about Marceau and Tisha. What's happening to Martell is happening to Martell because when he met Maurice and Marceau, he tried to step off into their world and be just like them, but he didn't have a wife that was going to put up with his shit like they did. Mel was not Tisha and Kimmy. Mel was not willing to sit around and let him do whatever he wanted to do and keep coming home. So Martell messed up his bag. and his family. He destroyed that. And it didn't have nothing to do with them sitting around talking to y'all. It had something to do with him not understanding that you all were purposely trying to set out and expose him to things that will ruin his family because y'all were jealous of him back then. The same people you extend your hand to help will be the same people who try to pull you down because they're jealous that you're able to help them. They jealous because you got it like that. Now that he's down and out, oh, Martell cool. Yep, Martell, he cool. They don't fool him like that. They ain't bending over backwards to reach out and help him. They laughing at him. Then Tisha gets on her soapbox. And the funny thing about this scene is they go back and show Tisha doing the same thing she's doing now, complaining about not wanting to have bad relationships, or complaining about people are treating her, complaining about how people talk to her, complaining about she doesn't want a bad relationship with Kimmy and she wants to stay in a good place. That's always Tisha. Tisha's never happy. She's never secure. She's never in a good place. She's always whining, and she never wants feedback. She doesn't want feedback from Marceau about her being accountable. She didn't want feedback from Mel about the Black Expo, yet they took all her feedback and did everything she said to do. Tisha and Marceau in this conversation with him saying, "All right, T," and he walks out. It's funny to me that when these people are together, a married couple, they're never affectionate. They never give kisses on the way out the door. When my husband leaves the house, he kisses me. When I leave the house, I kiss him. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Love you, honey. I'll be right back. There is affection there. There's never any affection with Tisha and Marceau, ever. Oftentimes when he goes to touch her, she pulls back and she yanks back. It's a very weird dynamic, very weird. The next scene was very shocking to me. It's Stormy and Mel going out to dinner. I was like, where the hell did this come from? When they start being cool. Like, it's just, this show is so just thrown together. It's no lead up, it's no build up. Everything is just like individual pieces thrown together. Carlos cannot convince me in a million years that this show is worthy of 3 million viewers. He's a lie. He is a lie. This is one of the worst put together shows this season that I've ever seen, period. The producers, it's not flowing. It's not. So they're sitting down talking about dinner, kind of recapping what happened in Nell's party. But the gist of this scene was for Stormy to tell Mel that Martell was going to be a model at her event. And I love the way Mel handled it. She was like, okay, well, that's cool. Move how you want to. But if he going to be there, I won't be there. I won't be there. And that's how she just has to do it. You know, period. It's not about forcing people to choose sides, in my opinion. It's about right or wrong. That's how I see it. They're not going back and forth. And I see a lot of people saying, oh, you guys just go back and forth with this and that. Mel didn't threaten to send his photos of him to the public. Mel is not out doing interviews dogging him out. Mel does not make an effort to reach out and talk about Martell in any way, because Martell does not have anything to even talk about. He's not missed. She is not longing or wanting this man, and his life has no interest to her. She does not care what he does. She does not want to be around him. She does not want to see him or talk to him or engage with him in any way, shape, or form. So she's not doing anything to him. So this whole y'all tick for tack and back and forth, that's bullshit. I don't understand why Nell says that, why Chris says that, why any of them are saying that they're back and forth. They're not. This is one-sided. The shots are coming from one side, and that side is Martell. Mel has moved on with her life. She's doing well. There's nothing to miss, period. So she handled that the way she should have handled it. And if they find a benefit of having Martell in the scene versus having Mel around, they're crazy. But I guarantee you one thing, she will be mentioned, and that's not fair to continuously have her mentioned in every single scene you have, but she can't film in every scene you have because they keep bringing Martell around. Kenya Moore has been accused and is being investigated for doing a similar revenge P act on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was immediately suspended indefinitely. Martell has been convicted, proven guilty. He did it. He admitted it. There was no suspension and there was no punishment for that. And there's so many issues that I have with that. Why is it in reality TV women are treated harsher than the men? They're allowed to AB women, do RP, revenge P on them, and there's no consequence, but a woman does it and she's suspended indefinitely? OWN is just trash for that. They're trash. This man should not be on this show. But this goes to show you, in this society, in this world that we live in, they get to move without any consequence to their behavior. And Carlos is such a dirty, evil bastard for this. He's evil for it. It's just evil. This man lives off the backs of women, and you allow this type of AB to go down and it's nothing. And all the women who smile in this man's face, I hope y'all looking at this. Look at who he is and how he treats women. Martell should have been suspended indefinitely. Martell should have been off. The problem with the setup of this whole show, though, in my opinion, is Mel was married to Martell, and her whole world on television was surrounded with Martell's friends and Martell's family and Martell's people. So although she rose to stardom, she is the star of the show. The whole show, the entire show, was Martell's family and friends. She was immersed all 100% by his family and friends. None of that was hers. None of it was her people. Everybody was based on who Martell knew and who Martell had a relationship with. And that's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And they're still doing it today. Tisha coming on the show is a friend of Stormy's, and Stormy is a friend of Martell's. Courtney is a friend of Martell's. Tisha also trains Destiny. She's friends with Destiny. Destiny and Tisha are friends. That's that. Tisha is part of that circle. Moses and Sunny are sitting on an island by themselves, and Mel can't align with Sunny because of how Sunny moved. Mel does not, because of Mel's experience with infidelity and side women and that type of thing, she's not going to mesh very well with Sunny when Sunny is coming in on this kind of controversial she stole Destiny man type of thing. Mel's not going to align with that. So she's still on the island by herself. And the people Mel moves with and the people that she befriends do not want to be on a show that's filled with mess and chaos. These are professional people who don't want to tarnish their image with all this other crap. So she's in a very difficult spot. Very difficult. I don't trust Stormy. If I was Mel, I wouldn't trust her no further than you can throw her. It's decent that they can have a scene and talk and everything. And I understand, moving a certain way for business. Mel ain't never did nothing to Stormy for real though. She hasn't. So I don't know. I don't, for me, I just don't trust people in that way. I don't trust people like that. I don't. I'll never get over how Stormy's mother treated Mel. And if she treated Mel that way in her face, I know she was talking and engaging with Stormy behind the scenes in a whole nother way. I believe when Ariane says she knew Stormy. I believe all that stuff. I believe it. I really do. And I believe Stormy used Mel as a way to get onto the show. I believe that. It was a scene. Now this next scene is with Latricia and Martell. And I believe Latricia was brought on the show in her situation for the same reason that the conversation about Chris and Nell has turned to side chick. I believe that everyone is talking about, Nell's a side chick, Sunny's a side chick, Destiny's a side chick, Tisha has a side man. I believe this conversation and all these stories that are being brought on this show are being brought to the show to normalize Martell's behavior and what Martell has done. I believe that they made an attempt to keep Martell on the show and kind of like make him the main, character on the show, and it didn't work because naturally society, people who watched the show gravitated to Mel and took her side because of what Martell had done. Because that didn't work, and they started to get a lot of pushback on Martell and Ariane. So what they started to do it's a psychological phenomenon that happens with repetition of a word or phrase, okay? And when you do it so much, it starts to lose the effect and the meaning to listeners and to viewers. And that's exactly what they're doing. Nick, side chick. Destiny, side chick. Side chick. So now you're normalizing Ariane. You're saying Ariane's not the only woman out here who does these nasty things that she did to this family, tormenting this man's wife and his kids for years, having a baby by. She's not the only one that does that. Nell is the same as Ariane. Destiny is Sonny's. Ken is now an Ariane. And that is not true, but because people are repeating it and it's catching on. Essentially what they are doing is normalizing Martell and Ariane. In this scene, he's talking about Ken being a side dude. Is he a good guy though? Is he good for you? That's essentially saying, yeah, Ken's a side dude, but he's good for you just like Ariane's good for me. Nell and Chris worked out, but she started out the side chick. So I can get married to Ariane and have a 30-year relationship and it can be all good too. Martell wanted nothing more than to get off on the island that he was stuck on by himself. And Carlos and the producers have shaped this show. They brought on new people to do nothing short of normalize Martell and his bullshit. I catch a lot of flack when I say this, but I would love nothing more than Mel to be able to cut all of this off and move on with her own show that shows who she is without any of these people. But that is a lot easier said than done. There are contractual obligations, there's non-compete clauses, there's industry and who knows who and who will put up blockers for you and who can blacklist you, so you have to maintain certain relationships. But in my heart of all hearts, I feel like I would love nothing more for her to be able to cut the Love and Marriage Huntsville tie and leave all these people where they are, because this is what they are. This is the level they own, and it ain't gonna never change. It will never change. Martell dropped a bomb in this scene where he's still trying to take out Marceau. Oh, your husband used to work up there where Marceau used to throw them parties. I'm glad you didn't work up there. He would have had you too. And she's talking about the hell he would have, looking at him crazy. So you're saying, number one, Latricia knows about Marceau and his parties and his reputation for throwing the parties based on her response. And Martell's openly saying, oh, that's when he used to throw them parties with all the girls. Now, everybody knows Marceau was married at that time, but is Tisha gonna take that as proof? No. And that's why Martell is so angry at Maurice and Marceau. They have women that no matter how many people know how they move, no matter who knows how they gonna stay right there. And he wanted Mel to do the same thing. His anger towards Mel is amplified every time he sits in a room with Maurice and Marceau and he gets to see them with their wives, and he lost his, doing the same shit they was doing with them, and he's the one who came up short. And in his mind, just like he said, there's the main chick and there's the side chick. Now on the stage, on the reunion, you can't call Ariane no side chick. That's disrespectful. That's his baby mama. But he clearly thinks of her as a side chick, and she will always be that because he just articulated it. There's the main chick and the side chick. Orchestrated. Y'all, this is semantic satiation. It's a phenomenon, and it's a psychological phenomenon that people use and they play on folks with. It's about repetition, causes of words and phrases. It's temporary loss of meaning for a listener or a viewer. Over time, this side chick turn, they're changing the meaning and the effectiveness of the word side chick. They're taking the sting out by constantly throwing it in our faces. And it's working. Anytime you can equalize Nell, Sunny, and line them all up and say they're the same thing, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And just like that, in one season, they've taken the sting out of coleslaw. They just removed the sting. And now you can't really point a finger at her and Martell because everybody else is doing it. They were just doing what everybody else was doing it. So they're not that bad. When we all know that was a sick, twisted, situation where you had two narcissistic people get together and they tormented this woman. That woman is still tormenting her kids. Trust me, the bullying that they undergo at his home is at the behest of her. It's at her request and her order. These people are not the same. This is not normal. What it is semantic satiation. It's a psychological phenomenon, y'all. And when you hear repetition over and over again, it causes a word or a phrase to temporarily lose its meaning to a listener, and it works for viewers. It causes you to lose the meaning of a word when it's repeated over and over and over again. And that's what's happening on this show. It is simply them making side chicks something in adultery, something that you see so many people doing, and you keep hearing the word side chick thrown on so many different people that it's losing its meaning. That's exactly what they're doing, and it's working, and it's working brilliantly because I'm hearing use this word and apply it to multiple people. And in doing that, you're taking Martell and Ariane off of their little island that they were on by themselves, and you're normalizing them, and that's crazy to me. I will say this about Latricia and Martell. I think that Martell, in his mind, he's always trying to figure out a way to get at Mel. And he cannot be in the vicinity of her. He cannot speak to her. He cannot be in the same room with her. So he's starting to do things on television to get his message across. I think in his mind, he believes that Mel seeing him with another woman hurts him, or Mel believing that he was cheating with the woman while they were married hurts him. Because Tisha says in the episode that she went to Martell's house in 2020, right? So 2020 is during the time that COVID was happening. That's during the time that he was leaving the house to go sleep with Ariane. That's when Ariane got pregnant. That's when Sugar Mama was a baby and he was in the house with Mel, and he was going out and coming back during the middle of the pandemic, exposing Mel and the baby to whatever germs and, diseases he was encountering outside of the house. So 2020 was a questionable year. What house did you go to? When did you go to the house? That's what he's trying to kick up. And he's trying to make people kind of revert back to, was he cheating on Mel with Latricia and all that? Did Chris Fletcher set him up with Latricia? He's not coming out and saying that, and neither is she, but they're hinting around at it because he, with the help of Stormy and Latricia, is trying to annoy this woman. They're trying to taunt Mel. And what he doesn't understand in his mind is when you let go, none of that matters anymore. None of it matters anymore. She doesn't care if you standing over there with Latricia. She doesn't care if Latricia came to your house. Mel ain't thinking about you or Latricia. She doesn't care if Chris Fletcher hooked you up with somebody. Number one, I don't believe that. And number two, she doesn't care. I don't think Chris Fletcher hooked Latricia up or tried to hook Martell up with Latricia when Latricia just said she would say hi cuz to Chris Fletcher, and Chris would look at her like he's crazy, like, who is that? So it's not making sense. The lies not coming together. But I believe that is wholeheartedly that's what this scene was about. I really do. I think he does it on his Instagram as well when he was out with Drew's husband, sending shots through the internet, trying to get messages to Mel because he cannot access her. It's really driving him crazy. And so his sole purpose in life is trying to figure out workarounds so he can get little messed up messages and to Mel. He's still trying to dig. And it's sad. He's like a little weak, just mutt that won't go away. Just go away. And if these people want to befriend him and keep him in their circle, they can do that. But as far as Mel, he just doesn't fit in her world anymore, and neither do most of these people, in my opinion. So the last scene is with Mel and Marceau. Now they've been showing clips of this scene since the season started. This is supposed to be the big thing. So Marceau and Melody meet at, I believe it's like a little coffee or tea house, and they're talking about when you know, the media reached out to Marceau and he made a comment. So the conversation is really just starting. They're just getting into it. But basically, she's saying that they decided amongst the women that, you know, they're not going to hold on to harsh feelings and they're going to talk things out when things happen. And so she was reaching out to him because she wants to know why he felt the need to make a statement. And so here comes Marceau with, oh, you know, our lives are linked, and you know, when things happen with you guys, people reach out to us. And I love that Mel said when stuff was going on with y'all lawsuits and stuff, people reached out to me and I didn't say nothing. I kept my mouth shut, and as should he. But I don't know if any of these people will ever keep Mel's name out their mouth. Like I said, every scene mentions her. Everybody talks about her. She is everybody's storyline on this show. So, you know, if it's an opportunity for them to get some shine, then that's what they're going to do. So overall, I think that, you know, we're going to pick up on this episode, pick up on this scene next episode. I think this was a better episode than last week, but I still wouldn't give it more than a 5, to be perfectly honest with you. It's a little bit better for me, this episode, than last week, because more of Mel is in it. And I always love to see Mel on the show versus people just talking about her. So y'all let me know what you think. For me, it's the show's on struggle status, but let Carlos King tell it. They 3 million viewers strong, honey. They got a whole new audience. What y'all think about that lie this man be telling? Drop me some comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys soon.
My rules. Y'all heavy on the tweeting. I'll disappear a whole season like woo. Who said they looking for me? I'ma make you get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even if my feelings grind don't stop. Got big dreams.